boys. Come on, boys. Play hard, gents. Play hard. Last one, boys.
The second year when we eliminated the Montreal Canadiens, and we won the first 2 games in Montreal, and we were sitting in the dressing room after pregame warm-up, and we could hear the fans outside. Now, you got to understand, the walk from our dressing room to the actual ice surface is a fair distance, and to hear the fans, I mean, that's unheard of. But there was such a tremendous roar from the crowd that we could hear it in the dressing room. And finally, when the doors were open of the dressing room, we started that walk from the dressing room to the ice surface. I'll never forget that feeling. It's like, I want to be on the ice. I want to be in the middle of this roar. I want to really feel it. Take something in your life that you feel is the most important thing, that you feel belongs to you, and then take it away. Have someone take it away. And that's what losing, not only to the Calgary Flames, but losing, period, is to an NHL hockey player, particularly in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and even more so when you were the previous Stanley Cup champions.
Wasn't that easy for me. It took a long time. I mean, I don't know how you could just say, well, the game's over with, and you walk out of the rink and start thinking about the next day. It doesn't work like that. I mean, you remember that these guys had started 10 months ago trying to put this thing together to win, working every day and thinking and planning and agonizing and being happy together and be down together, and you don't get over it. I think it'll be stuck there forever.
I found out about the story in Sports Illustrated on the Oilers about 10 days or 2 weeks after we had lost out to the Flames. It seems in that article we were proven guilty without any of the facts revealed. And the fact remains that there was no facts.
Well, I was aware probably a week to 10 days before the reporters were actually around here.
What had you been told?
I'd been told that Sports Illustrated was doing an expose on the drug problem with not only with the Oilers but with the league, and because we had won the Stanley Cup, that's why they wanted to start with us. And then the script was so good after we lost that it was going to be a great story on the Oilers to write.
And when we sat here that day, you said, I know it's not true. I know it. You spent 24 hours with those guys. How do you know?
That's right. I mean, you guys have been around them. I mean, you spent time with them, probably more social time than I did with them last year. But, I just think it'd be impossible to be able to do that and play hockey, and I still believe that today.
Do you know them well enough to be positive that that's not the case?
Absolutely. Absolutely positive that there can't be a guy that plays professional hockey and have a serious drug problem. And I think that guys that have been exposed to drugs in this league, as in any walk of life. I mean, I'm sure there's guys that have experimented with it at one time, but to a man in the NHL, there couldn't be one guy that could be hooked on any kind of drugs and play on a regular basis. You'd have to notice it. Trainers, the doctors, I mean, everyone, the tests that we do on these guys. I mean, we've done all kinds of scientific tests on them just to see how they can perform. It can't be possible.
It was an education in what it's like being at the top. Plain and simple. We were a high-profile hockey team. We had a great deal of success over the years. For the first few years, everybody loved the Edmonton Oilers. They were Canada's team. They loved to see the Gretzky and the Oilers. They loved to see us win. But that only goes so far. Eventually, people get tired of the success story, and they like to see a loser. And it was that much better this time. They loved to say, aha, you see, those Oilers couldn't handle the success. Aha, the Oilers had problems. They weren't so glamorous. They weren't the boys next door.
Thinking our am subbing for you. Subbing. Well, he's always not. Number 9, you're gone. Take another holiday. Where you go?
We see Glenn Sather always had the philosophy that you should always change at least 15% of your team. I mean, you've got to get better all the time. So we didn't know if the team the years before were going to remain intact. We didn't know who was going to be there. It was like the first year in the last 4 years that we actually thought, well, whose jobs are secure and whose aren't?
I think that they understand that I've got a job to do and they have a job to do, and if they don't perform, that I'm going to have to change faces. And they know that I'm capable of doing it. I think that they understand that I have a lot of compassion for them, but if they screw up, then the compassion is limited. Winning is the first thing. That's the nature of the beast.
When did the Leafs last win the Stanley Cup? Was 67, wasn't it?
1967, Dave Keon, Tim Horton, and Johnny Boord.
$5 on me. Leafs for 67. The last 2 summers I've said to Slats, I've called him up and said, Slatsy, like, here's the deal. If you want me to come back, I'll come back. If you don't, just tell me. That's fine. I'll retire. Because I've had a good run. And he said, well, you know, come to camp. That's what he said last year. And what happened to me this year is what I thought was going to happen last year. I didn't think I was going to play hardly at all last year. But then Pat Hughes got picked up at Buffalo. Willie Lindstrom went to Pittsburgh. A whole slew of guys got hurt. So all of a sudden I played 46 games. And that's 46 more than I thought I was going to play. And this year I asked the same thing.